All right, what is up, guys? Today I'm going to be telling you guys, or showing you guys, hopefully some tips and tricks on how you can catch more fish when you're fishing golf course ponds and you're just, pond hopping around. Because, at the end of the day, it's all about having fun, but at the same time, it's about catching more fish. And so I'm just going to show you guys how I attack the pond, what spots I work first, and how I approach, what end to go to first, and what really separates. A lot of golf course ponds are super plain, and so you kind of got to figure out exactly what stands out in the pond and what the hot spots are. So hopefully I can show you guys some tips on how to figure that out today. All right, so as you guys can see, this pond is basically a big L. It goes from all the way over there to that side over there. It's a pretty quiet day in the golf course today, so I'm able to sneak out with some time to fish it. And when I approach these types of ponds, the first thing I want to do is walk to the shore and cast, but I hold myself back and I try to stay about like 20 feet, maybe 15 feet off the shore, and then cast out to where I think I'm going to walk. So I want to walk down there. But before I walk down there and scare all the fish away or any of the bluegill or anything like that, I want to get a couple casts out and make sure I'm not going to spook any big bass that are sitting there on the shore waiting for something to come by. So once you feel confident that you're not going to spook anything on the shore, that's when I pretty much go ahead and walk down. I feel pretty confident I'm not going to spook anything right now, just considering, the water temperature. I generally don't need to worry about it right now. I think it's a little bit too cold for those bass to be pushed up right on the edge. But it's always good to play it safe and just get a couple casts out there, especially during the summertime. It's really key, and that can get you an extra fish or two. All right, so then from then on, I'm looking at the pond and I'm looking at what I want to fish. All right, so I always start with the edges, just because when you're fishing the edges of the pond, obviously, like what I just did there, you want to fish the edge before you walk straight up to it and scare whatever's there. And you can cast to all the edges and walk around and make sure there's no fish on the edge of the pond, and then you can start bomb casting out to the middle. But I find it more effective to work the edges. Be sure there's no fish on the edges, because that's a higher percentage area where those fish are going to be sitting. They're more concentrated on the edge of the lake. It's a clear target to cast to, and that's why I prefer to work the edges first. And when I work those edges, for me, you can see right here, the edge is really shallow. So that first 2-3 feet is all shallow leaves, and they're not sitting there. So I like to cast 7, 8, 6 to 8 feet, I'd say, off that edge where it starts to drop off a little bit more. And I notice that's where those bass like to congregate. When I'm working the edge, I'm looking for anything that really stands out to me as something that can be different. Even if it's, the whole pond is the same depth, the same level, etc. One side might be gravel and sand, and the other side might be like more muck area. And during the spawn, that fish really like to have a more hard bottom to spawn on. So, and that can make the big difference. And you can completely eliminate one side of the pond and focus on the other and catch more fish that way. Some of the other things that really stick out are pipes and drains. A lot of time there's irrigation pipes and stuff that are sticking out in the water, whether you can see them or they're a few feet in underneath the water, that you either feel it with your rod or you see it when the pond's really low one day. Either way, those are structures and features that the fish really like to gang up on. And when you know where those are, you can make more precise casts and hit those spots before you just walk by it or give it one cast and finish. And you really work it thoroughly and possibly pull off fish that if you didn't know those pipes were there, you wouldn't have caught. Another key thing to think about when you're fishing is don't be too giddy to cast certain things. So for me, I know one of my high percentage areas is over there at those drains, and you know, I'm in casting distance right now, and so I really want to cast straight over there. But the problem with that is if I do cast over there and I catch a fish, and I haven't fished this corner yet, if I cast over there and I catch a fish, that fish is gonna swim all around, jump up and down, create a ton of you know, commotion, and it's gonna bother whatever's, you know, if there's a fish sitting in here, it's gonna bother that one and probably cause it to leave or to get on edge and not bite my bait. And so the smarter thing to do would be cast all around in this corner, and you know, if there is a fish in here, catch it. And even if the fish in here causes a bunch of commotion, it's not going to be right next to that fish over there at the drain, and you know, we'll still be good. You know, it won't bother it. I can, you know, catch it, release it, and then work my way over to the drain. So one of my next tips, moving on over here to these drains, are work it from the outside to the inside, right? So I don't want to cast directly in the middle of them and either get snagged or catch a fish, especially if there's a few fish on that drain. I want to cast outside around it a little bit and then work my way all the way in. There we go. There we go. I thought it was a bluegill or something. That thing was so close on the shore. I was not expecting that. That's a good fish too. Let's go. Yeah, it's a solid fish. Man, he was right on the shore, like right next to that cement drain. Wash them off a little bit. Good fish. That's a prime reason why I wanted to work the outsides first, because if I cast it right there on the inside and I caught him, probably would have disturbed all the other fish right here. So that's awesome, and that's a thick fish right there. Sweet. All right. Absolutely awesome. I also like to hit my very high percentage locations on that lake first. So these drains have always held, you know, fish for me, and as you can see, one just came off there, and there's a drain over there on the other side. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk far away from this edge and walk all the way over to that drain and basically fish that drain and those cement, you know, things first. That way I can catch fish off those if they're on them, and I'll also give them time to reload. And you know, if you're fishing a pond for 2 hours and you know your high percentage spots are mainly the only spots you catch fish on, if you fish those first and you give them a few hours, they might reload with more fish. And so that allows you to fish them, you know, 2 or 3 times in one sitting and catch more fish off them. Here we go. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Hopefully he stays down for me. Yeah. Let's go, good fish. Over here. Yeah, yeah, that guy is fat. Holy crud. That's definitely a pre-spawn bass right there. Perfect hook set on the top of the mouth. I was just swimming it slow. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's probably the same length as that last bass. I mean, it might be a touch longer, but I mean, that belly is humongous. That is awesome. Beautiful fish. All right, I'm gonna try to get a slow-mo on this guy. Just working it real slow, just working all the way along that edge, you know, just because I don't want to cast ahead and scare any other fish, and it worked out for me. Let's see. That was a bite right there. That's another fish. Yep. He's coming straight at me. That was about the same. Oh, no way. Was that my knot? Oh man, that stinks. That was really nice. That was another really nice fish. That was a hit right there. That's a fish. Yep, here we go. That's good fish right there. They must just be stacked up right there. It must be on the drop off for that current. Oop, that's some mud. Come on, buddy. Come over here. Oh. Wow. Another good fish. Another good fish. Boom. Look at that. They're all about the same size. This one's not as fat as the last one. I don't know. This one just seems to be pre-spawn. But I mean, it's definitely got a good belly on it. Beautiful fish. It was a good fish. You know, I was really planning to work the edges of the pond a little bit more and you know, hit those high percentage areas. But for whatever reason, it seems like there's a lot of bass schooled up right about right there in the middle. There, I think there's a drop off, and you know, this end of the lake is deeper, and I think that moving water is you know, kind of flowing out in the lake, and they're just sitting there right on that drop off, waiting for bait and stuff to come by. So you know, that's another good point is, you know, if you are fishing a pond, and you come across a pattern or you catch a fish, you know, don't be afraid to cast back in that exact same area and see if you can catch any more. Yeah, that cast was sick. Let's say it's a bass. It's a bass. Let's go. That's why you want to hit those high percentage areas real quick in the beginning. Oh, that's a good bass. Caught a fish off those in the beginning and then waited long enough so I could hit it again. Oh my gosh, that's a good fish. It's jumping like a tarpon. Holy crud, this fish is strong. Ha 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 ha. Come on, guy. Man. He's dogging me. Come on. Come on, don't do that. Come over here. Let's go. Another really good fish. Heck yeah, guys. Right in the corner of the mouth. That is an awesome fish, guys. Just to reiterate my point, that's why you wouldn't hit those high percentage areas in the beginning. So I literally should be gone right now. I need to go pick up dinner, but I wanted to come back and hit that spot one more time, and boom, it reloaded with a nice fish, guys. That is awesome. Big old belly. That is sweet. All right, guys, that was sweet. Got some really good pre-spawn bass in today. I haven't had a day like that on this golf course in a while. These ponds are pressured extremely tough and extremely hard, and it's hard to come out here and get a day where you catch that many good fish. So I'm glad you guys were able to stick around with me. I hope you guys learned some tips about how to not scare some of those fish and really get the most out of small ponds. And until next time, guys, hope you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.